Good morning, class. My name is Jessica Miller, and this is my literature review. There has been numerous of studies done in order to help dropout rates, but not many have been successful. My goal for this research review was to find methods to decrease the dropout rate in low poverty areas. So I was doing Title I schools, but I noticed with selecting Title I that falls under low socioeconomic and poverty. So I had to find a lot of articles that dealt with low socioeconomic and poverty stricken schools. The reason why this subject is near and dear to my heart is because I currently teach students who have dropped out or have problems with school. So, our school is basically their last chance in order to make it out of high school. With that being said, there's always room to learn more ways to keep these students in school, and that was my goal for this literature review. Now, the method that I took in order to do my research was I used ERIC and EBSCO. These two databases were easier for me to use because I'm familiar with them. And when you put in different keywords, they shoot out as many articles your way to ensure that you have things to review. So, the keywords that I used were methods to prevent dropouts, prevention programs to prevent dropouts, dropouts in low socioeconomic areas, and prevention programs in place to decrease dropout rates. There were several criteria in order to ensure that the articles that I selected would fit my literature review. So the criteria that I selected was the cause of dropout rates in low socioeconomic areas, the methods used to decrease the dropout rates, the effectiveness of the methods, and resources that are already in place, and also methods to get parents and communities involved. On to my results. I selected 6 articles that I felt would help with my literature review. All of these articles, in some way, met my criterias. The first article was an analysis of school-wide positive behavior interventions and supports on a high school campus. So, this study believed with school-wide positive behavior interventions and supports that could decrease the dropout rate and help with attendance and academic success. Now, this study was done with 883 high schools from 37 states. With this study, the results showed that it did not have a significant effect on dropout rates. However, it did improve attendance and academics. Now, the reason why it did not work to decrease dropout rates was because it wasn't done in a long period of time. It was done in a short period of time, and with dropout rates, you need a longer period of time to track that. This article was how an alternative campus that focused strictly on students that were near to dropping out helped with the dropout rate. So 85 students from SFSA were used at an alternative campus that basically was unique in teaching methods. It was done in a self-paced kind of setting, and the classroom sizes were small. This study compared the results to a traditional high school setting. And with this study, it did show that it decreased dropout rates. This study is similar to my school in the sense that it is unique to their specific needs. And the goal of the program was to try to prevent them from dropping out beforehand. The next article was keeping up with students in their dropout trends and preventions. This article basically supplied just a lot of information that someone can take in order to prevent dropouts. So it had in detail a lot of interventions and ideas that schools can take to aid high school dropouts. It did not fully go through the methods or discussions or conclusions. It just basically provided a lot of information. This next article was this next article was wonderful because it took a program that was in a Latino area with low socioeconomic situations, and it created a after school program that tried to target students in order to keep them from dropping out. This program basically allows students to receive tutorials, and also they did project based experiences to get them interested and promoted into their high school experience. This was a perfect example of methods in order to keep students in school. This article was different from the other one that I previously talked about with the alternative campus because with that, it took the students out of their high school students. With this one, it kept them in their high school traditional setting, but it provided a after school program that targeted these students. The next article was basically a pilot study that interviewed four African American students that dropped out to ask them why they chose to drop out and what were some internal and external factors that impacted their decision. I believe this article was very important to my review because it allowed me to get an overall view of how students feel when they drop out or before they drop out. And I believe that with this information, schools can find methods to attack those certain internal and external factors. The last article that I reviewed was a school counselor's role in dropout preventions and credit recovery. This article related to my topic because it took the counselor's position and it wanted to move it to a more leadership role where the counselors are proactive. The high school counselors are proactive towards the middle schoolers to see where they are in their educational pathway. So if the high school counselors are able to know that information before they join high school, they're able to implement different modifications or interventions to help students when they get into high school. So this allows the counselor to already be proactive in targeting these students that are getting close to dropping out. Now, some conclusions that I made from reviewing all of these articles is that it's important to create a fun and exciting, supportive school environment. Being supportive and being there for the students is very important because it shows them that someone cares. Many teens, however, have different learning and personal roadblocks, so that means that the school has to be active in supporting these students with their specific needs. Now, some implications that can be done on campuses is taking leadership positions and building teams to target certain risk factors. So, building these teams that will target these certain students with those different risk factors can help decrease the dropout rate and improve academic and attendance achievements. Now, there are some limitations that I found within these studies, and that is tracking effectiveness in the methods to make sure that they are being effective and they're just not being used. Also, to make sure that there's enough time to accurately get results. And that is the end of my literature review. I hope that you guys enjoyed listening and finding out information about ways to decrease the dropout rate. And I hope that this provides you and encourages each and every one of you guys to pay attention to those dropout rates and find ways that we can ensure that all students receive a proper education. Thank you.